Assalamu alaikum, this is Rama Tuzara, and today it's my last video on the series of videos I have done on constrictive pericarditis. So the last thing which is left, and that's the main topic of my discussion today, that how we will treat or manage a patient with constrictive pericarditis. So I've just made a simple mnemonic. You can actually remember it without the mnemonic too, but I have made this mnemonic because if someone abruptly asks from you, so you'll just easily recall and easily tell what were the points if you forgot immediately if someone abruptly asks from you. So what is the mnemonic here? That we know what is constrictive pericarditis? CP. So what does this CP do? It's very selfish. It leaves even itself, means C behind, so C is not given. It leaves someone who is behind him, means B is not given, and picks up the forward letter, means the D picks up the forward letter and move along with P, its second part. So this was the mnemonic, that what will do, BC will not be given and D and P is used. So this is the whole mnemonic, just to recall easy sign. Now why I have said this, I'll explain you and clear the whole down. Fine. So first point, of course, as we know that I've already discussed before too in acute pericarditis, that whenever a disease has some systemic underlying disorders, then the first treatment modality which we'll do, or the first treatment step in the management we'll do, is that we will treat the underlying cause. We assess the patient, that what is the underlying cause in him, and we will treat the underlying cause accordingly. Fine. Moving on to the second point. Now we'll not give B and C. Now what is this B and C? This will come in your mind, that as we know, in the patient with CP, constrictive pericarditis, sinus tachycardia develop, and it is very good. Basically it is a compensatory mechanism that the heart develop within it. So it's basically a compensatory mechanism. So what we'll do is that we'll never give those drugs that will reduce the heart rate of the patient. So we'll never give those drugs. Why? Because it will prove very fatal to the patient. So what we'll do is, the main theme which I want to tell you here, that beta blockers and the calcium channel blockers, they are not given. So I'll just write it completely, maybe someone don't understand the abbreviation. This is calcium channel blockers. So these CCB and the beta blockers we don't give in this patient. Why? Because we don't want this sinus tachycardia to lower it down. Why? Because it's a compensatory mechanism, it's doing good for our heart, and why will destroy those things which are doing good for our heart? Fine. So B and C are not given. Now what is this D and P? As we know that this patient may have, in fact it surely have fluid overload. Why? Because right ventricle increased blood coming is unable to get accommodated within it because of the pericardial thicken outside. So that backflow of fluid occurs within the veins, which causes the fluid overload. So as we know, whenever there is increased fluid in the blood in our body, we have to excrete it out. So for that purpose we use diuretics. So this first D that I said here is that diuretics are preferred, and they are very effective in managing this fluid overload associated symptoms. Fourth point of our management is that, if, as I've already discussed in the pathophysiology section plus in the diagnosis section, that patient can develop atrial fibrillation late in the disease, majorly because of atrial dilatation. So this atrial fibrillation is developed, and if it develops, we know that ventricle rate and rhythm, in fact whole rhythm of a heart, will become abnormal. So to treat it, we'll give the second D. What is that? Digoxin is used in this case to maintain the rate and rhythm normal of the ventricle. Fine. So this is the second D. So we have not given B and C, beta blockers and calcium channel blockers, and we have given D's, diuretics and digoxin. Now the last and basically the definitive treatment of this problem, that is constrictive pericarditis, and that definitive is that we have to go for surgery, because pericardium is so thickened. Unless we don't cut it out, we remove it out, we can't help our ventricles to dilate properly and restore the diastole normal. So what the last we'll do is that we'll go for surgical pericardiectomy. What does this ectomy means? That we will cut the part of the pericardium so that that thickened part is reduced and the pericardial cavity size is increased. So surgical pericardiectomy is done. It is the definitive treatment. I'll write in front of it. It can be asked in your MCQs and from you even anywhere during your practice, that what is the definitive treatment for constrictive pericarditis. So you'll tell that it's of course surgical pericardiectomy. Now, as we know before, that whenever we go for surgeries, we know that there are many in some cases we can't perform surgery, so there are some contraindications too. So I think you should know here what are the contraindications. That if the person have some severe comorbidities, like he is severely debilitated, means weak patient, we can't take the risk of performing this major surgery. And secondly, if the disease is radiation induced, even then we don't perform the surgical pericardiectomy. Fine. So this was the whole discussion on its management. And yes, one more point, that if, as I've already told you, that tuberculous pericarditis is also present and it causes pericardial thickening. So whenever the patient is diagnosed as it has tubercular pericarditis, so what we'll do in that case, we'll perform immediate surgery. And what we'll do is that we'll perform immediately we'll perform radical pericardiectomy. So this is its treatment here. This is very easy management of constrictive pericarditis. So now I think listening to my videos, it will be clear in your mind that medicine is not about cramming. Medicine is just about understanding what is happening in the patient, in that organ, in the disease, and how those problems we can diagnose and how those problems can be treated. So no need to cram anymore. Medicine is just so interesting and easy. You will love it if you will make your study interesting and more fun loving, so you won't get bored and you will enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed my video. A brief overview, quick summary. So in constrictive pericarditis, what we do, we don't take B and C, he's very selfish and he just move forward, he goes for D and P. First of all, we treat the underlying cause. Second, we don't give B and C, beta blockers and calcium channel blockers, as we don't want this sinus tachycardia to get inhibited. For fluid overload, we go for diuretics. For atrial fibrillation, to maintain the rhythm, we go for second D, that is digoxin. And at the end, our definitive treatment, or the king of this whole management, that is the surgical pericardiectomy. For that, we have some contraindications, like if the patient is severely debilitated or if the disease is radiation induced, we don't perform, I repeat, we don't perform surgical pericardiectomy in those patients. And in the last point, if a patient is having tuberculous pericarditis, so we perform immediately. I repeat, it's immediately, it's emergency, we have to perform it, and radical pericardiectomy is performed. So I hope you like my video. I hope you like this unique way of studying, making the study more interesting, more easy, and more retaining in your mind. So please, if you like it, the video, please like, share and subscribe. Plus, major goal, please share these videos max with people you know, with medicos, so that max can avail this benefit and enjoy studying medicine. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. See you in the next video.